government has announced a new definition of Islamophobia, specifically anti-Muslim hostility. And it's non-statutory, so it's advisory and has no legal backing. So you could ask, if it's just advisory, what was the point? You could ask, will it stop Islamophobia or anti-Islam hate? Well, there was an antisemitism definition a few years ago, and Britain's probably more anti-Semitic now than it's been in the last 500 years. There's already laws about hate crimes. There's already plenty of enforcement about hate crimes. There's already enforcement of people upsetting people. We've already seen that a man burning the Quran, which I definitely don't approve of, is convicted of causing distress. And the man who tried to stab him for it doesn't seem to have even been charged. Yet the fact that he tried to stab him was used as evidence that he'd caused distress. Kind of victim shaming, you could say. And you ask yourself, can you debate important issues? Can you debate theological issues without risk of challenge after this definition? Because although it's not statutory and not binding, that doesn't stop the police from arresting you for it, because a non-crime is a non-crime. You can still get a hate incident for it. So I wondered, after this comes into force, if that's the word for something which is non-statutory, it'll be enforced, even if it's just tacitly. Can you debate whether the Quran has changed, whether it was written by the Prophet? There does seem to be quite good evidence that it has, but that would be very offensive to a lot of Muslims. Can you draw parallels with the Book of Mormon? Someone went up to a cave and had Holy Scripture dictated to them. Can you ask why there's no archaeological evidence of Mecca being the centre of early Islam? Can you ask whether the Kaaba was built by Abraham? Can you ask why mosques didn't point at Mecca until 600 years after Muhammad? Can you ask why misogynist crimes happen more in certain Islamic countries? Can you ask why there's more homophobia in the Islamic community? When two homosexuals were stabbed to death, it wasn't a terrorist attack. It was a crazy man. If you suggested otherwise, would that be hate? That queers for Palestine would be killed in Gaza, can you ask that? Or is that implying that Muslims don't like homosexuals? That there are Muslims in the UK who'd like to have Sharia law? Is that accusation, which is often thrown around, likely to cause hate? That there are a lot of Sharia courts in the UK, suggesting that, which some people believe. That some people think halal food is cruel. Well, sticking on halal food, how about the halal food doesn't taste as good? Someone said that to me recently. Someone else once said to me, a very devout Christian, that the Bible forbids preparing food that's been killed with prayers that aren't to the Christian God. That seems a little borderline, that one. But there is a Bible passage that says it. Or that family voting isn't illegal but was ignored because of community cohesion. Would that fall under the list? That cousin marriages lead to elevated levels of mental disability. That you don't think a second wife should get a special tariff for benefits in the UK. These are all true arguments that I've heard from people. That a nationality which is predominantly Muslim, without mentioning Islam, is overrepresented in rape, abuse, crimes, prisons, mental institutions, or gender-selecting abortions. Would that be Islamophobic? Is it to say that they have a lot of kids, or that they claim a lot of benefits, or that the burqa ban in France led to raised educational performance by Muslim girls? to call a Muslim preacher Captain Hook. I remember when he used to be described as that on the front page of newspapers. Or to suggest that he lost that hand building a bomb. To say that Shamima Begum shouldn't return to the UK. Or to ask how many ISIS brides returned to the UK without us being told. To suggest this definition is put together to curry votes. Is it Islamophobic to mention curry? Seems like a stereotype. Is it Islamophobic to ask why an Islamist charity gets government funding? Or to say separatism is on the rise? To make a joke about 70 virgins waiting in heaven for a suicide bomber? To draw parallels between bombs thrown in New York by Muslims last weekend and those thrown in the Middle East? I heard that on a YouTube channel this morning. To compare the Ramadan and Christmas lights in London. To suggest the woke give Islam a free ride. That they turn a blind eye to violence against women in Iran or play it down. Now, all of these are perceptions that some people have. If we can't discuss those, then they still exist. The perception still exists. The belief still exists. It's just fueled by not being allowed to publicly debate it. They might not be allowed to debate it in a pub because that would get the pub landlord closed down. But if you think they're not going to talk about it over a beer at home or while they're chatting to a friend, those debates will go on, and some will be baseless and some will be misinformed. But they will go on. And the fact that people are scared to discuss those is not going to help cohesion with Islam. It's not going to reduce Islamophobia. It's not going to reduce suspicion. It's not going to cause everyone to run through the daisies holding hands and singing Kumbaya together. Overall, hate crimes have fallen substantially over the last decade, and frankly, they're probably looking for them a lot more than they were 10 years ago because everyone's a lot more easily offended. So, is a definition really needed? Because if I hate a group, if I hate an ethnicity, if I hate a religion, it's already a crime. And as we've seen with anti-Semitism, giving a definition doesn't stop hatred. And something doesn't need to be illegal to get a knock on the door from the police. Feel free to comment, but do keep it civil. I will delete comments that are unpleasant towards Muslims, because proper debate here isn't about Muslims. It's about discussing important social and theological questions which I fear this rule will squash.